Hi everybody, Rechief here, and welcome back to yet another exciting episode of Let's Play Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth Prosecutor's Path, episodes 1 through 5 beta. Last time we found out some serious stuff about how Blaze DeBest feels about the law. This time, we're going to find out if everything truly will be decided in today's deliberation. Kay's innocence. I will definitely prove it. Oh, this is a fucking save point. Okay, good. That would have been a... It was a weird time to end the episode anyway, but, you know, whatever. Let's just keep going.
10 members are present. The quorum has been met. From here on out, let the council begin. Today's deliberation shall be about Miles Edgeworth's aptitude and ability as a prosecutor. Let our members discuss this matter with a clear conscience of the goddess of law.
A clear conscience? Don't make me laugh.
Courtney, please give us your report.
On April 5th, Let me try that again. Forgive me, goddess of law, for stuttering. On April 5th, Prosecutor Edgeworth carried out an illegal investigation and resisted arrest. He was arrested by 2 of our members who caught him in the act, myself and Blaze DeBest. Prosecutor Edgeworth disrupted the investigation of attorney Jill Crane's murder. He claims that the culprit, Kay Faraday, was arrested without sufficient evidence. Even now, his claim remains unchanged.
Tell us more about the murder incident.
On April 5th, the victim's body was found here in the PIC meeting room. Regarding the details... I, Sebastian DeBest, the best prosecutor, will enlighten you. The prosecutor in charge, Sebastian DeBest, will explain the rest of the details. The murder happened on the night of April 4th. The victim was one Jill Crane. On the same night, a black market auction was being held in this very meeting room. I guess Miss Crane was taking part in the auction. Yep. The murder occurred in the middle of the auction, did it not? When Miss Crane was found, she was dressed like the conductor of the auction. However, based on the fact that the auction continued after the murder occurred, I deduced that Miss Crane could not have been the conductor. You weren't the one who made that deduction. Sebastian, please show everyone the basis for the arrest of the culprit. You got it, Justine. Kay Faraday was unable to bear the weight of her good conscience. I believe you mean her guilty conscience. Yes, it was her guilty conscience that drove her to confess the crime. According to her confession, on the roof of this building, she met a figure in a red raincoat on the viewing platform.
So Crane was wearing a red raincoat.
Yes, that's correct. The culprit used the conductor's clothes as a red herring to mislead us. At the time of the murder, Ms. Crane was wearing a red raincoat. It was I who discovered the raincoat near this building. He did? I'm sure it was the forensics team who found it. To be more precise, it was the forensics team, under Sebastian's orders, who discovered it. I thought as much. According to the blood analysis, the person in the red raincoat and Ms. Crane were the same person. The decisive evidence is the culprit's own confession. She testified that she killed her. That's right. The culprit is Kay Faraday. It couldn't have been anyone else but her.
Well then, Edgeworth, if you have any objections, let's hear them.
I have no objections.
I see. It seems all the fight's gone out of you after your little overnight stay.
I have no objections to your claim that I have investigated illegally. I admit to that. However, I object to the claim that Kay is the culprit. I will testify that Sebastian's investigation was fair and just. Of course it was, Justine. Don't you know that I'm the fairest of them all?
Edgeworth, my boy, despite how things may seem, I actually kind of like you. If, and this is just an if, you see, if you were to withdraw your objection, you might be sitting on this side of the bench tomorrow. I'll ask you one more time, Edgeworth. Do you have any objections?
Don't take me for a fool. I'd advise you to watch what you say. This man is the one who should watch what he's saying. I'm talking about the case, not about a chair. I demand a testimony. By all means, let me hear it. I want to know how the PIC understands this case.
A testimony from us, eh? Fine then, if that's what it takes to make you happy. Courtney, give him the materials from the investigation.
Sir, but that's...
It's the end of the line for him. I'll let him go out in a blaze of glory.
If you insist, Mr. Chairman. Aw, nice. Judge Courtney gave us back all of our evidence. Good. Good. Let's go.
Why don't we have Courtney give the testimony?
I have no objections. Mr. Edgeworth. Don't worry, Kay. You just watch from over there. Miss Crane went to the black market auction as a customer. The red raincoat was one of the items up for auction. We believe that she left her seat after winning the bid for it. The only exit from the storeroom is the hatch that leads to the viewing platform. Miss Crane went out to the viewing platform where she was attacked by Kay Faraday. That was how she met her end, and that concludes my summary of the case. The red raincoat was up for auction. Is that a fact? It is quite likely. The red raincoat had been a piece of evidence in the assassination attempt on the president of Zheng Fa, as you well know. Originally, it should have been stored in an appropriate place, but when I asked about it, I learned that it went missing. And it somehow made its way to the black market auction. Certainly a natural conclusion.
My. Well done, Courtney. Your explanation is as clear as ever.
I am much obliged. Prosecutor Edgeworth, will you concede defeat now? Sorry, but I don't plan on it. I see. I am relieved. Relieved? What does she mean? Come to think of it, her reason for questioning me yesterday remains a mystery. Just what is she thinking? Let's find out. Let's cross-examine this shit. Here we go. Miss Crane went to the black market auction as a customer. So you're saying that a member of the PIC was involved in illicit dealings? Regarding that, I have no response.
He's right, you know. After this hearing is over, we're gonna have to clean up our act.
A splendid decision, Mr. Chairman.
Now, it's only natural, you see. There's no need to flatter me, you know. But you know, that has nothing to do with you at all, Edgeworth. Because by then, you won't even be a prosecutor anymore, you see. Well, now that this tearful business has been cleared up...
Yes, sir. I will continue. The red raincoat was one of the items up for auction. So, the red raincoat was also up for auction. Yes, it had belonged to Shelley the Killer.
Based on the circumstances, we must consider that it was an item up for auction, you see.
That was what he wore when he targeted the president of Zheng Fa. There was a mannequin that was positioned unnaturally amongst the auction goods. That may have been where the red raincoat had been on display. Do you know how the goods were produced? We're currently investigating it, but it's none of your concern, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Soon you will be nothing more than an ordinary individual, and then you will be finished. It seems the results of this deliberation have already been decided. Enough about me. Please continue your testimony. Since the raincoat had been up for auction, we believe that she left her seat after winning the bid for it. Why would the victim immediately leave her seat? That had to do with how the auction was conducted. It seems that after the winning bid, the winner was required to pay for the item immediately. That matches up with Ms. Hart's testimony. We believe that Ms. Crane paid her bid for the raincoat, and then immediately tried to leave the auction. The only exit from the storeroom is the hatch that leads to the viewing platform. The victim was a PIC member. Couldn't she have also just left from the meeting room? If she had done so during the auction, then its existence would have been revealed to the public. Since Ms. Hart knew about it, it seems the cat is already out of the bag. The customers were required to enter and exit from the hatch. Miss Crane was simply following protocol. Considering where the murder took place, she must have tried to leave through there. Miss Crane went out to the viewing platform where she was attacked by Kay Faraday. Why would Kay do such a thing? I appreciate your spirit there, Edgeworth, but that's not a great objection. We intend to question her about that later. Later? That seems to be your favorite time for interrogations. If the culprit was aware that the customers were required to exit from the hatch, it would have been easy to lie in wait for an ambush. Miss Crane was attacked when she was leaving the hatch. That was how she met her end, and that concludes my summary of the case. Met her end? What do you mean by that? She passed away. Or to be more precise, she was murdered. The candelabra was one of the items in the auction. Therefore, Kay should not have been able to get her hands on it. If she was able to lie in wait for the attack, then she must have known about the storeroom. If she sneaked into the storeroom during the auction, she could have obtained it.
Now, if we only had some way to know for sure where the candelabra was during the entire auction, you know? How about it?
There is no such evidence. My apologies. We hope to find that evidence soon.
Edgeworth, it's too bad, you know? It seems you won't be able to use this line of attack.
The victim encountered the culprit on top of the roof and the crime occurred there. According to her reasoning, the murder took place at the viewing platform. But was that really the case? Some piece of evidence must tell the whole story behind it. I should try looking again. Okay. I like marking a customer. Red, I believe she left her seat after the winning bid for it. The only exit from the storeroom is the hatch that leads to the viewing platform. That's just true. Out to the viewing platform, she was attacked by Kay Faraday. How she met her end. So I feel like I either have to object to this somehow. We believe that she left her seat after winning the bid for it, because that's a fairly solid, like, factual thing. So I don't know. Maybe like maybe if I present this photo, somehow that'll prove that she. Wait a minute. I can't remember if I've discussed this during this Let's Play before. I feel like I probably have, because I'm sure it's come up. I'm red-green colorblind, and sometimes that makes it difficult for me to kind of tell red apart from other colors. It looks to me like her hand is red. I can't tell if that's just like the shading or something, but I wonder if to connect to another person and one of them suddenly started screaming. I wonder if that's meant to be evidence that, like, actually the killer was wearing the raincoat and their hand is bloody because they attacked her. I can't present that here, but I wonder if I can, Yeah, let's try presenting that here. Because I feel as though, like, you know, obviously the murder didn't happen above if the killer is in the storeroom, or the victim, whoever is supposed to be wearing the raincoat, whoever that is has blood on their hand already. Fuck. Judge Courtney, there is a contradiction in your testimony. I cannot authorize this statement. And why not? Because it's obvious you're bluffing. Is that the impression I give off? Next time, for sure, I will present evidence that will silence her for good. Damn, I really thought that was going to be it. But I guess I'm just fucking colorblind, and her hand is not red. Man, that sucks. Whatever. Okay. Came out to the viewing platform that she was attacked by Kay Faraday. Do we have any other evidence that could prove that there is a contradiction there? The victim's fingerprints and blood were found on its hood. Victim's fingerprints. The victim's fingerprints and blood were found on the hood? Where's the autopsy report? That's not the autopsy report, that's a letter. Do we not have the autopsy report? Oh, there it is. I keep getting confused because I keep thinking the autopsy report is going to be like a picture of an envelope, but it's actually just the body. The victim's body was discovered at the PIC meeting room. Estimated time to death. The cause of death was stab wounds to the left chest with a candelabra. Head wound was post-mortem. Huh. Okay. So here's let me try to get all my thoughts in a row here. It says here in the autopsy report that the cause of death was stab wound to the left chest. The head wound was post-mortem. However, if we go back here and we look at the raincoat itself, blood was found on the hood, but not on the chest area. So how could why would there not be blood on the chest if she was supposedly stabbed in the chest first? Like, it seems as though... I think that that's a contradiction. I don't know how directly that pertains to what she's saying right here. But I'm gonna try... Okay, should I present the raincoat or the autopsy report? I'm gonna try the autopsy report, and then if that doesn't work, we'll try the raincoat. Okay, that didn't work. Judge Courtney, could you take a look at this piece of evidence? I'm afraid I cannot accept that piece of evidence. I do not believe it has any relation to my testimony. No. As I expected, she's nothing like Sebastian. However, I won't back down so easily. Okay. Let's try the raincoat. Motherfucker! Damn it! I really thought that was gonna be... I really thought it was gonna be one of those things. But if it's not one of those things, then what is it? Damn. Maybe I'm presenting in the wrong place. What's the other one I wanted to do? We believe she left her seat after winning the bid. Is there anything else? 1, 2, 4, 5. There's 6 of those. Definitely don't want to do that one. We don't do that one. We believe she left her seat after winning the bid for it. I believe she left her seat after winning the bid for it. Huh. I mean, I feel like that doesn't really have anything to do with shit here. That's the viewing platform where she was attacked by Kay Faraday. Huh. Man, I really thought that this was going to be it. So it's really frustrating that it's not, apparently. I feel like I presented this here, right? Now I'm losing track. Did I present this here? Did I...
Objection!
Really? I really thought that I presented that there already. That's why I was so confused. Does that mean... That mean there really is blood there? Let's just keep going and we'll see what happens. Judge Courtney, I've found it to be strange for a while now. Why is Miss Hart here with us? She is an eyewitness to this case. Isn't it only natural for her to be in attendance? Oh, shucks. I reckon I'm more of an ear witness than an eyewitness. It seems that gaining the trust of others isn't your strong point, Judge Courtney. Perhaps I simply do not wish to be as tactless as you. Ooh, burn. It appears you've failed to get the witness to tell you the most vital information. Please look at this photo. This was taken by Miss Hart. This photo seems to have been taken in the storeroom. And what of it? According to your reasoning, the incident took place on the viewing platform. However, Miss Hart encountered the incident in the storeroom. That's right. It had taken place just before this photo was taken. Wait! If that's true, then Justine's reasoning... Exactly. It does not hold up. What? Yeah, Sebastian, I'm as confused as you. I'm really sorry, guys. I really thought that I presented the photo on that statement. Guess I didn't. Miss Hart, allow me to ask you again. You saw the person in the photo with your own eyes, correct? I sure did. I seen him plain as day with my own two eyes. And what did you think at the time? I figured I was about to get me a big scoop, you know. I guess that makes sense. That's not what I meant. What did you think of that person? Huh? Well, I reckon she'd help me bring home the bacon. Are you mocking me? Oh, shucks, don't make that scary old face. Just a harmless little joke. The person in the red raincoat, I reckon they were the culprit. I hope you understand now. The crime occurred in the... Prosecutor Edgeworth, I cannot understand your argument if you do not say it out loud. If you had simply asked, I would have been more than willing to explain. Explain what? The sounds Miss Hart heard may not necessarily be related to the case.
Objection!
That is impossible. Enough of your excuses. Wasn't the voice that Miss Hart heard really that of Ms. Crane? Such a shady conversation must have had something to do with the case. What did her voice sound like? Her voice? Well, beats me. How was I supposed to know? They were both using voice changers. Yes, the voices Miss Hart heard had been altered by a device. We must therefore question whether or not they have any bearing on this case. You need not object just because you wish to sigh. Judge Courtney, it seems I've greatly overestimated you.
No, Courtney's quite amazing, you see.
You claim that the sounds Miss Hart heard have no bearing on this case. Even if they do not, it does not change the fact that the crime took place in the storeroom. At the very least, the crime must have occurred before the victim went up to the rooftop. The reason being... This evidence proves the crime occurred before the victim went up to the viewing platform. Okay, this is my shining moment. Is this blood, or is it my faulty chromosomes making me think it's blood?
Take that!
Yes! At first I thought the person in the red raincoat was the culprit. Well, Miss Hart's testimony certainly made it sound that way. Precisely. It was because she saw that the person's hand was covered in blood. Anyone who heard her testimony would have arrived at the same conclusion. The person in the red raincoat was the culprit, and the blood on their hand was the victim's. However, if the person in the red raincoat was the victim, then the situation changes completely. Since blood can be seen in this photo, it must have been taken after the crime occurred. It seems we've been under the wrong impression in regards to the victim's condition. This photo shows the true condition of the victim. The victim... I think it's gotta be this one, right? The victim was definitely attacked in the storeroom. Immediately afterward, the victim was seen with blood on her hand. That must mean the victim was still alive, even after she was attacked. The blood on her hand must have come from her own wound. No way! Are you saying that she died from a... No. Are you saying that she died from a hand injury? Oh, I love Sebastian the best. No, that is not the case. I suspect she just held her hand against the wound. It can't be seen in the photo, but at this moment she must have already suffered a fatal wound.
Ho ho! If that's true, then it changes a lot of things, you know.
It seems you understand. This refutes the allegations against Kay. Kay encountered the victim after this picture was taken. I believe at that point in time the victim was already on the verge of death. It's likely Kay just happened to be present when the victim reached the end of her strength. That is quite the coincidence. Indeed, I can only say that she was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Prosecutor Edgeworth, it seems you have forgotten a crucial fact.
Ah, you mean that, right? He must be pretending that he hasn't noticed it, see?
What did you say? Are you implying that I forgot something?
Courtney, I think it's about time you gave him his last rites.
Hey, Pops! Justine's with me, you know! Don't order her around like that!
You know, even though you're my son, you're so embarrassing.
I'm not embarrassing! I'm sorry, but you're both rather embarrassing. Justine, give Mr. Edgeworth his, Very well. I shall give him his last rites. When the body was found, there were 3 wounds in Miss Crane's chest. I'm sure you're well aware what kind of wounds these were, right? Yes, she was stabbed in the heart with the 3-pronged candelabra. Is there any person who could survive such an injury? Please take a close look at the autopsy report. Can you still say the same thing after reading it? Well done, Justine. With this, Mr. Edgeworth will... I will offer a rebuttal, of course. Why would you do that? Didn't you hear what Justine just said? Of course I did, and I still plan to object to it. It's not fair! You're always opposing me at every turn! It was never my intention to oppose you. Huh? Really? It's simply not worth my time. I see. So that's how it is. Yep, after all, I'm...
That's enough, you know. You're embarrassing your father, you see.
Huh? What do you mean, Pops? When the body was found, there were 3 wounds in Miss Crane's chest. 3 wounds. That sounds rather painful. Indeed. We must punish the culprit accordingly. Kay, do not listen to what she says. Judge Courtney, please continue your reasoning. Very well. She had 3 wounds. I'm sure you're well aware what kind of wounds these were, right? Why don't you ask Sebastian instead? Of course. Sebastian knows all about it. Huh? Me? Yeah! I know everything! He's obviously lying.
Sebastian, maybe you should sneak a peek at the autopsy report, you know?
Let's see here. The fatal wound was caused by the candelabra. Oh, so that's how it was. The cause of the wound was just as Sebastian said. Yes, she was stabbed in the heart with the three-pronged candelabra. I feel like they're giving us some hints. I think they're trying to tell us that we need to look at the autopsy report again. The victim's body was discovered in the PIC meeting room. The estimated time of death, cause of death was a stab wound to the left chest with candelabra. Head wound was post-mortem. Now I'm starting to wonder if the autopsy report is wrong. Because I think that Edgeworth is right in that the victim was walking around after she was injured. But if there's blood on the hood of the raincoat and not on the chest of the raincoat, then that suggests that she got the head wound first, and then she got stabbed with the candelabra afterward. I wonder if we'll have to present that at some point and point that out. So the cause of death was a stab wound to the heart. Is that correct? Yes, the candelabra pierced right into her heart. Since this was Dr. Young's medical opinion, it must be the truth. The coroner's medical opinion follows my own opinion. Therefore, it's perfect. I certainly cannot ignore the autopsy reports, however. Hey! Don't ignore my opinion! However, if the cause of death was a stab wound to the victim's chest, wouldn't it contradict that piece of evidence? Yeah, it would. Oh, he's totally ignoring me! Justine, say something! Yes, I will not allow you to ignore my reasoning. Is there any person who could survive such an injury? At the very least, we cannot be certain that she died instantly. Even if she still had a little bit of life left, I doubt she would have held on for long. Can people survive after being stabbed in the chest? In some cases, maybe they can. Although maybe they can't. Huh? So in the end, which one is it? No such human exists. If you think they do, then first, please take a close look at the autopsy report. Can you still say the same thing after reading it? According to the autopsy report, the stab wounds to the left chest caused the fatality. Correct. The autopsy report itself is the foundation for my reasoning. In other words, I just have to shatter that foundation. Right. I don't find that amusing at all. I look forward to seeing you try. Nevertheless, please take a close look at the autopsy report before you make a rebuttal. Show me that your reasoning is not just mere conjecture. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, we'll be fine, Kay. There's nothing for you to worry about. Evidence the victim was alive after the incident. If I could just find that, Kay will be... Okay, so I feel like evidence the victim was alive after the incident, that's gotta be the raincoat. Because the autopsy report does not suggest that. So we'll have to poke holes in that later. But according to this raincoat, the victim's fingerprints and blood were found on the hood. They were not found on the chest. So I think we have to present that in a situation where, like, it'll be clear that, you know, we're trying to disprove that there were wounds in her chest. Or, I mean, not that there were wounds in her chest, but that those were the fatal wounds. So it could be this. It could be the first statement. He was stabbed in the heart with a three-pronged candelabra. For any person who does can you still say the same thing after reading it? Okay, so I feel like it's either this statement or it's this statement where I have to present the red raincoat. I'm going to try this one first. We'll just go down the row. Okay, fine. Judge Courtney, there is a contradiction in your testimony. I cannot authorize this statement. And why not? Because it's obvious you're bluffing. Why won't you let me skip that? We already read that. Next time, for sure, I will present evidence that will silence her for good. Okay. So let's try it with this one. Yes! Ah, good. Yes. Yes, sir. Oh, man. I love it when I actually kind of have shit figured out. That's always a good feeling. Chairman DeBest, do you know what this is?
It seems to be a red raincoat. How about it, Courtney?
The victim, Miss Crane, was wearing this earlier. Prosecutor Edgeworth, must I repeat my explanation to you all over again? I suppose it just might come to that. Judge Courtney, answer me this. This red raincoat was stained with blood. Do you happen to remember where specifically those bloodstains were located? Yeah. Of course I do. They were on the hood. Wait, it can't be.
What does this mean?
Judge Courtney, were there any other bloodstains besides the ones on the hood? None were detected. Don't you think it's strange? The victim died from a stab wound to the chest. In that case, there should have been bloodstains on the front of the raincoat. However, the only blood they found was on the hood. This is a huge contradiction. The wound on the victim's head is no ordinary wound. After all, the victim sustained this wound before she was stabbed in the chest. It does appear that way, doesn't it? The victim first suffered the head wound. If she had already been stabbed in the chest, the raincoat would have been stained with blood. Therefore, it is unthinkable that her chest was stabbed before she suffered the head wound. So the order of the wounds would be, first the head, followed by the chest. However, does that really change the situation? With this, a contradiction is born, one that overturns all of our assumptions up until now. Is the change really that great? I look forward to hearing it. Well then, this contradiction, why don't you show it to me? With evidence. Which piece of evidence shows the contradiction that arises from the order of the wounds? I think that's gotta be the autopsy report, right? The autopsy report directly contradicts what we're talking about.
Take that!
Yes, sir! Oh, Edgeworth's on fire, baby!
This is the autopsy. This is the autopsy report written by Dr. Young. According to this, the head wound was post-mortem. But that's not what the raincoat shows. Exactly. It's the exact opposite. Bailiff, hurry and summon Dr. Bonnie Young at once. Until we hear what she has to say, we cannot close the curtains on this case. This is the most active the PIC has been in doing anything. That's satisfying. Yes, ma'am. Understood. Dr. Young is a busy person. It will take some time for her to arrive. In the meantime, let us try viewing this case from another angle. There's something that's been on my mind. One of the key figures in this case, the conductor, we still don't know who that person is. Now that you mention it, even after our investigation, we still have no idea who it is. The conductor has come up time and time again during this hearing. However, at this point in time, their identity remains a mystery. How about it? Do you have any ideas? I'm still not sure at the moment. However, there is someone I have in mind. A certain individual involved in this case who might know something about it. Who's that? Blaze DeBest. I demand your testimony. What? Don't say such a stupid thing. Why would you suspect Pops? Are you trying to cast suspicion towards the chairman of the PIC? Do you understand what that means? Status and prestige mean nothing before the truth. That man is trying to pin the crime on Kay. The evidence that was in Kay's possession, the ticket stub, the mask, the corsage, these items did not come into her possession out of her own volition. By some method, that man purposefully planted them on her personage. It is hard to believe such a sudden accusation. I'll ask just in case. Why would he do that? obviously to direct suspicion towards Kay. I succeeded in drawing out those words from him earlier. Mr. Chairman, your response? Are you too shocked to speak?
And what of it? Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said, what of it? You say that you drew out some words from me, but you don't have a shred of proof, you know? No one else heard it but you. It just doesn't work like that, you see. Or do you have something else? You know, some kind of basis for your argument.
This confidence. He also showed it at the cell. Prosecutor Edgeworth, I would like you to explain once more. I trust we have your permission, Mr. Chairman.
But of course, I'm pretty interested in this matter myself, you know. But I'd like to know just what part of me seems criminal to Edgeworth. There's no one as honest as I am, you see.
How can he say that with a straight face? Let's start from the top. The fact that the auction was held in this room is a cause for suspicion. This is the PIC meeting room. I imagine it would be difficult for non-members to enter.
That's why. All the members have key cards, you know.
I think we can assume that the multiple auctions have been held here before. Oh, that multiple auctions have been held here before. Therefore, suspecting a member of the PIC would be
the best!
Yes, because the conductor has to have been a PIC member.
Wait, no!
What was that all about?
What do I do, Pops? I just helped the enemy.
Sebastian really is an idiot, you know. But you see, Edgeworth, I'm not the only one with access, you know?
Indeed, there are 11 members in the PIC. Even if we rule out the victim, Ms. Crane, there are still 10 potential suspects.
It's not me.
But it couldn't be the chairman, right?
I don't know who it is, but whoever it is should just come forward.
Yes, everyone just calm down, you know. Edgeworth, is that all you got? Where's the evidence to suspect me? Oh, so you've fallen silent. But you've gone too far, you see. I won't forgive you anymore. It's too late for regrets, you know. I'm a very important man, you see. Former chief prosecutor and chairman of the PIC. It's fine if you're not prepared to face the fire, you know. 'Cause you see, either way, it won't make any difference. 'Cause I'm gonna bully you.
We're going to have to find out exactly how Edgeworth gets bullied next time. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Our showdown with Blaze DeBest happens next.